It's amazing sometimes what comes out of my mouth. I'm like, did I just say that? And you guys are, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, okay.
Is that a hallucination?
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
What do you foresee as the next major evolution in the cloud native environment?
One thing that really hits me is the impact of quantum computing. We're so limited with traditional compute model. Once we leapfrog into quantum, imagine the possibilities that this cloud native Kubernetes containerized workload can go. It's just my mind starts to go all over the place that where this can go.
I think it's interesting. I think it's about any workload, anywhere, any data, access, like true portability of everything, whether it's containers, whether it's VMs, whether it's data, and really being able to move in between clouds pretty easy and pretty seamlessly. It's not something that's really available today. It's something that companies like Nutanix is working on, and I think we'll get there probably pretty quick, probably faster than anybody else. Nothing's going away, and everything's adding, and it's becoming more complex. And so, how do you manage the complexity?
Okay, next one.
For a small organization that may not have much resources, how can they begin to experiment with AI?
There's a lot of models out there that you can just download off of Hugging Face. Small organizations won't have the resources to pre-train or train, nor should they really need to. So definitely leverage existing LLMs and look for use cases that drive business value, that leverage existing sort of low-cost constructs that already exist so you don't have to build it. Like everybody thinks AI is expensive, and it is for Meta and for Google. GPUs aren't really that expensive. Like even small organizations should be able to afford maybe one node with the GPU, and you could download your LLM and you could probably do something. So I think there are really ways to be creative. It's cheaper to do it on-prem than it is to do it in the cloud. Cloud's going to cost you more, but if you need it just for a little while and you can shut it down, then you go cloud. It's cheaper to do it that way. But these small organizations are super cost conscious. There are lots of services out there to do things if you're smart. The resources who know how to do it are expensive. So I think you're always going to face that. But potentially you could get contractors and you can get slices of really smart people. You don't have to bring on full-time people. So if I didn't have much money, I'd basically be saying, come up with a really smart plan that drives value, get an LLM, go and hire contractors to come in for a few months to do my bits, maybe do some on-prem infrastructure. It's a lot cheaper. And I could probably do something for $100,000, $200,000, which I think is probably the minimum. I think doing something less than that, I don't think there's a lot of options.
Could you also use GPT in a box, if you think about it, to help get going, to make it easy to actually get started and spin up an environment?
Yeah, I mean, you could use GPT in a box, but for sure, right? But I think you'll be at a 3 or 4 node minimum with Nutanix. You can even use Nutanix AI, which is an aspect of GPT in a box, which is basically, taking that LLM and taking a GPU that you can actually run it in the cloud on cloud native. You can run it on AKS or EKS or GKE. You don't actually need infrastructure or GPU in your data center. You can just use the cloud and you can put an AI in there. That's probably the least cost and lowest barrier to entry. But it assumes that it's sort of like a workload that you would turn on and turn off, that you wouldn't be using 24/7. Because if you're using the cloud 24/7, it's more expensive than doing it on-prem. And I think that's what you have to think about. But you don't necessarily have to go GPT in a box for the whole thing. You already have a 3 or 4 node cluster. You just buy one node with GPUs. You buy a new GPU node and you inject it in. Nutanix allows for like mixed clusters. You can have 3 nodes that are like lower cost, no GPUs, and one higher cost with some, L40S is like $15,000. You can throw a couple in there. You can start doing stuff. You can start labbing stuff for like $30,000 or $40,000. You can actually enable a lab and start, trying things out.
I'd like to combine your two ideas. So GPT in a box, for the sake of audience, it's a pre-validated technology, hardware, and software in order to run your AI application, pre-trained industry-specific models that comes from credible source, married these together, and you can get up and go very fast.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, it's my turn. I'm going to take it from the middle. What security tools and strategies can IT leaders use to maintain visibility and control over data stored in cloud-native environments and containers?
I'll go back to this point that you cannot protect the data that you have no visibility to. And there's a variety of tools. So awareness around where your data is and who can have access to is critical. Zero trust is become a mandate and a must. And emerging technologies such as extended detection and remediation, which combines network security, cloud security, endpoint security, a lot of inherited technologies such as intrusion prevention, intrusion detection, firewall, stateful, stateless, all that, it goes into this extended detection and remediation. And there's some great tools, and guess what? They all are powered with AI at the back end by the good guys. So we are very fortunate that AI is really leapfrog security capabilities to do some real-time capabilities to address the real-time security threats. So next one. What are some of the promises AI claims it can bring? Is this reflected in reality for organizations?
So I think it's a great question, Dariush. And some of the things I've heard and been speaking to customers is it depends on what the customer's focus is. Gartner actually likens this to a race. So they talk about a vendor race that's going on, and all of the vendors like us are building AI into our technology. And that's going to happen in your ERP system, in your sales CRM system, in your support system, etc. That is the vendor race. Then there's a race inside an organization. It's really built on two premises. One is, are you just trying to bring productivity to the organization? And if you are, that's a very specific, limited context to your AI implementation. And it allows you to then have a measurable set of outcomes that goes with that. And in one of the other episodes of this series, we talked about the different types of people and the benefits of AI to them. The second one is where you want to employ AI across the whole organization. And that is much more complex, but that's looking for the benefits of AI, not just from a productivity perspective, but across all the different components of your business. And that's where a lot of organizations have started to look at it and gone, we want to do that, but to be able to come up with the measurable results is much more complex. Being able to come up with results from a productivity perspective is much easier because I can talk about how many support calls I'm doing, or I can talk about what my developers are doing. But trying to understand what the impact could be across my order entry process, or as a food company across my whole start to finish of being able to produce a hamburger for a customer is a totally different thing. So I think the key is understanding the outcome you want, but to some extent, if you're trying to do it across the whole organization, it's much more complex.
Do check out the other episode of Nutanix CXO Pulse if you haven't already. Give this video a like, share, and be sure to subscribe for more content.